Who just spoke?
Why did that
Okay. Use case diagram. You can mute yourself if you know you have none in the background. Just mute yourself. Yeah. Use case diagram. What is a use case diagram? A use case diagram is simply a visual representation of interaction between the actors. Actors simply means users and the system that you're trying to build. Is simply a representation, a visual representation of the functionality and the user interaction at high level. So use case diagram is a high level diagram. It doesn't contain a lot of details. It's not very detailed. And it only captures functional requirements. Again, it only captures functional requirements. Why is the use case important? Because it helps to facilitate communication between stakeholders. Yeah. Okay, importance of use case diagram. The use case diagram captures, like I mentioned before, functional requirements, and it visualizes the system interactions. Now, it also helps the system functionalities. It's also helped to capture system functionalities and services clearly. Now, Ufoma, you were saying something that you try to do it, but you struggled. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with all those arrows, I mix them together. So yeah.
Now, you also mentioned something like it has to have a login, it has to have other things.
Yeah.
So what all those things that you're trying to identify is called the functionalities of that system. That's what you're trying to connect to.
Okay.
Yeah. So now there's always a question that they ask, that how do you convey non-technical language, or business language to the technical guys or the technical people or stakeholders? And how do you convey the non-technical information to the business stakeholders? Because they both speak different language. Again, as a BA, you are the one bridging the gap between the technical stakeholders and the non-technical stakeholders. You are bringing them together. Now, how do you translate? How do you bring them together such that whatever you are discussing, they could understand? Now, a use case diagram is one of those diagrams that we use to illustrate or to communicate with our stakeholders at all levels, because the technical guys understands, the non-technical guys also understands the diagram. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me simply put this again. Now, the use case helps to facilitate communication. How? Because they always ask, in order for you to convey your information better, is always good practice, yeah, to create something visual that everybody could relate to, such as diagram. Use case is one of those diagrams that you use. Yeah, so it's important. It helps to capture functional requirements. Basically, what the system is intended to do. Okay, this is an example. This diagram you see is an example of the components of a use case diagram. So there are 4 important components of a use case diagram. The major components there, they are all major. There's just 4 components. But the first thing, the most important component is the actors. So they ask, what are the actors going to be doing? Or who is the system for? Who is going to be using the system? Now, what is the system? Yeah. Who is going to be using the system? That's we're talking about the actors. So the actors are usually represented by this stick. You can see them, actor 1, actor 2. The rectangle box represents the system. Then the use case 1, use case 2, use case 3, use case 4, they are the functional requirements. Functional specification is basically, yeah, the service that the system is going to provide, or how the actors are going to interact with the system. So just understand this. There are 4 components of a use case diagram. The system boundary, which is the rectangle box, the actors, which is the human stick, the use cases, yeah, which is in oval shape, then the relationship, which is the lines drawn from the actor to the use case. Those shows interaction. Yeah. Foma, you can mute yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
So the first component there is the use case, the boundary, sorry, the boundary. Yeah. The boundary is simply what you are trying to build. It can be an application, can be a website. It can be software components. Yeah. It can be anything. Yeah. So, and it's usually represented by this rectangle box, which is called the boundary, system boundary. So everything inside the rectangle box is what the system is going to be doing. So anything outside the rectangle box is not, apart from the actors, because the actors are always outside. Yeah. Apart from the actors, anything outside is out of scope. Yeah. So another important component is the actors. The actors are usually represented by this human stick. Yeah. And the actors can be represented. Okay, the actors are represented by the human stick. Yeah. And the actors are simply a named role. The actors are performing a role. Yeah. The actors also initiate an action. And most importantly, the actors are always outside the system. So they're external to the system. So we have two types of actors, the primary actor and the secondary actor. Now, the primary actor is always on the left, and the secondary actor is on the right. The primary actor initiates while the secondary actor responds. Does it make sense, guys?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the third component is the use case itself. That's the functionalities. Yeah, which is usually represented by the oval shape. Looks like a circle, but it's not circle, it's oval, like an egg shape. Yeah. And so those are the functionalities of the system. Yeah, that is the actions the actors are going to be performing. Yeah. For example, we have the login, the register, the book a course, the payment. Now, what you want to understand is because our projects might be different here. Yeah. The use case is going to be based on what you are building. Sometimes you can have a use case that does not require login, but the use case is simply the actions that is going to be performed on the system. Yeah. What the actors are going to be doing on the system. For example, say withdraw cash, yeah, or make payments, or say transfer funds. Those are functions of the system. I'm just giving an example. Yeah. So you can see all the oval shapes are inside the box, which is the system. Yeah. Which takes us now to the next component, which is the relationship type, which is communication link. Yeah. Communication link. So there are four main types of communication links. Yeah. Or four main types of relationship. The first one is the association. The association is the link, is the line drawn from the actor to the use case. So the communication, the association relationship connects the actor to the use case. It simply means this actor, yeah, is performing this action in the use case. For instance, this customer is performing this action. The customer is external, the use case is within the system. So the customer is performing transfer form. Yeah. So that line is called association. So we have another example here. The actor is associated with login, is also associated with register, associated with book course, associated with make payments. Yeah. So again, there are 4 components of a use case diagram. One is the system boundary, which is that rectangle box. 2 is the actors. The actors can be a machine, yeah, but they are always external. They are interacting with the system that you want to build. Yeah. If there's no actor, there's no system. Yeah. Then 3 is the use case. The use case are simply the functionalities that the system will provide. Yeah. Then the relationship type. Like I said again, the first type of relationship is the association, which is that thick, straight line that is linked between the customer and the use case. The next one, okay, this is just an example. Now, let's take a look at these examples here. I'll give us just a minute to go through it. Yeah, the first one is an ATM machine. So you can see we have actors here. You remember I said the primary actor is always on the left. They initiate. Why the secondary actor is on the right? They respond. So you can see now, the secondary actor in this case is a bank. So it doesn't necessarily mean that because we say an actor can be anything. Yeah, an actor can also be time. Time can trigger an action. For example, you say every Wednesday by 4 p.m. Yeah, the system should trigger a report. That's time. Yeah, that is the time. It now becomes your actor. Yeah, I don't know if it makes sense there. So an actor can be human, can be a machine. Yeah, an actor can be anything as long as it's interacting and is on the right hand side. It's outside the system. So we have another actor here, which is the technician. You remember, this is an ATM machine. Yeah. So this is a solid line linking the actor and all the use cases inside the machine. Now, one thing you need to also note is in this rectangle box, you always need to name it. Yeah. You always need to give it a name, which shows the system. If you are building a website, if you are building a system or an app, yeah, that will become the name of your system, the app. Yeah. But always remember, primary actor is on the left, secondary actor is on the right. Then your use case is usually the functionality, and they are inside the rectangle box. Then you have your links. Yeah. So if we look at the other one on the right-hand side, the example on the right, which is the car rental system, you can see the same. We have customer, we have insurance company, we have employee, we have managers. Again, still the same concept. The rectangle box is the system. The use cases are inside. Then the actors are interacting. What shows the interaction? The solid line shows the interaction. Remember, relationship type. The first one is the association relationship, which is that solid line. Then the second one is the include relationship. Now, include relationship, simply in an include relationship, for the base, in an include relationship, we need to have a base use case and an include use case. Let that sink in first. For an include relationship, we need a base use case and an include use case. Now, in an include use case, yeah, the base use case cannot be completed until the include use case is completed. It simply means for an include use case to be complete, it will trigger another use case, which is called include. Sorry, for the base use case, in this case, to be complete, it will trigger, yeah, an include use case for it to be complete. For example, login. Every time you initiate your login functionality, anytime you initiate your login process, it triggers another functionality, which is the verification of your login details. That needs to be complete before your login would complete. Yeah, so the login is the base use case, while the verify login details is the include use case. Now, this is one important thing that you need to know. You see the direction of the arrow. Yeah, the direction of the arrow. You can see that connection there is broken. And the arrow is pointing directly to the include use case, which is verify login. Then you have that. Yeah. So this use case have to be completed for this base use case to be complete. Yeah. So it's mandatory. That's why we call it include. Yeah. Then we have the next one, which is an extend relationship. So let's not confuse this one. Yeah. An extend relationship is more like an opposite of an include relationship. So you can see the arrow of an include. The arrow of an include is pointed to the include use case, while the arrow of the extend is pointing at the base use case. Yeah. Now, what does that mean? Every time this is the base use case, this is an extend use case. Every time you initiate the base use case, the extend use case the extend use case might likely happen. But the difference between the extend and the include is mandatory. The extend is not. It's optional. It can happen. It might not happen. For example, if you try to log in, remember, the system automatically verifies your login details. If it's okay, then you log in successfully. But if it's not correct, an error message will be displayed. Now, if you notice, this doesn't usually happen. For example, you want to log in, you don't always forget your details. But in case you forget, that's where the include use case will come in, because it doesn't usually happen. Does it make sense? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, let's see this example. Primary actor, secondary actor. Primary actor is associated with login, check for availability, book ticket, make payments, cancel ticket, check flights, update flight schedule. Admin here is also a primary actor. You can see the line is linking, the line linking admin to the use case is called association. The same thing goes to the passenger and the use cases. We also have the secondary actor, which is the bank. Yeah. You can see the association to valid date card details. Yeah. Again, the focus here is include and exclude. So you can see every time passenger tries to book tickets, or if passenger book tickets, yeah, what happens? The system automatically prompts the passenger to choose a seat. So now the passenger might decide to choose the seat or not to choose the seat. So that means the passenger can book the ticket without choosing a seat. So it's optional. Yeah. But if we check the other use case, payment, for the passenger to make payment, the system will automatically validate the card details, or the bank. Yeah, from the bank, will validate it from the bank. Yeah. So you can see the passenger cannot make payment except this use case is achieved. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So at this level, it becomes include, because this has to happen for this to be complete. But at this book ticket level, this doesn't have to happen for this to complete. Yeah. So this this verify card details complements the payments. Without this use case cannot be completed. But in the other case, for book ticket, choosing a seat is not complementary to this. Yeah. It's optional. Does it make sense, guys?
Yes, but I have one question, if it's okay.
Yeah, go on.
I don't know if you said it, but is there a reason why the include and extend lines are broken and the other ones are solid? Or is it just
Now,
the okay?
now, this is a standard a modeling tool.
Okay.
Yeah, the standard modeling tool. You just need to know what this is. Again, you need to know what all these components mean.
Okay.
Once you understand what all these components mean, yeah, anybody that looks at this diagram already understands what you are trying to communicate. And if they don't, you can easily tell them, just explain the way I'm explaining. Yeah. So these are just standard
Okay.
stencil or
Okay.
notation.
Okay.
It's called UML. UML is a unified modeling language.
Okay.
Yeah, is a standard tool that they use for diagram.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's just for you to understand when to use this and when to use this, and what this means, and who the actors are, and what this link is. Once you know all those, you'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
The
you.
only problem you might have is, how do you relate? When do you use this? And when do you use this? Or when do you use this? If you understand the basics, yeah, it's going to be easy. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. Does anybody have question? Okay, no. Again, we've talked about association relationship, which is the solid line. Yeah. So this is what I'll tell you. When you are doing this, you first of all understand who your actors are. You know the system that you are building, which is in the rectangle box. Yeah. Then you've gathered the requirements. Yeah. you know what the system will do. At least some of those basic things that the system will do, or the ones that you know, that you've gathered. You just put them out there as a use case. Then you connect them, association. Yeah. Then you look at the connections to your use case. Then you now consider, if you log in, what do you expect to happen? For example, are you expecting any other action to be triggered? So for example, login. If you log in, the system automatically validates your details. So there's supposed to be what's supposed to be here? If you log in, the system automatically verifies your details. What should be there? There should be another use case, which is an include use case, because it's verifying your details complements the login. Yeah. So, and the fourth relationship is the generalization, also known as inheritance or specialized relationship. Yeah. Simply put, a user, is not defined. This user is going to be using the system, but it's not defined. So we now want to be specific. That's why we talk about specialized. Inheritance simply means parents, children kind of relationship. So you can see, this is the parents, these are the children. Specialized are this too. Generalized is this. That's the parents, it's generalized. Yeah, it's not specific. So when you come down to this level, you can see old user, new user. So specialized relationship, they are specialized user. Yeah. So the same thing goes to payments. You can do the same thing with the payments. Types of payments. Payment is simply generalization. Yeah. Then if you are now breaking payments down into other parts, say transfer or PayPal or MasterCard, that now becomes specialized relationship, because I'm supposed to change that. I made a mistake here. I'm supposed to change. Anyway, it's generalized. Yeah. So this payment is generalized. Then this methods of payments are specialized. However, it's generalized relationship. That's why they said it's also known as inheritance or specialized relationship. Yeah. So look at the example on the right. Now, let's review this and tell me what you think is challenging here. I hope everybody's listening, because everybody's quiet.
Well, here, we're muted. That's why.
So we can unmute now if there's no sound we don't have background sound. So now let's look at this system here. This is a library management system. Yeah. We have actors on the left, actors on the right. They are external to the system that we are building. Yeah. The system that we are building is library management system. Again, actors. Who is going to be using the system? We have user. Because we now understand that the system is library management system. We now say, okay, let's break that user down, because we want to be specific now. Who are going to be using the system? Definitely students. Yeah. Staff. Yeah. It might be anything, but based on your own requirements, you are defining it. For example, when you are writing your user story, yeah, you say as a user. Am I correct?
Yes.
As a user, I want to reserve a book. In this case, instead of saying as a user, you are saying as a student, I want to reserve a book. So you can see now that instead of using the generalized term user, you are using the specialized term student. You are being specific. Who is doing what? Yeah. So again, that is for the relationship type, generalized. Now we have the solid line here again. I keep saying it. I keep repeating myself. Yeah. The solid line is the relationship. How does the user here relate to the use case? The use cases are the oval shape. Remember, all these things you see here are functionalities. Those are the functions of the system. Yeah. So the use case are linked to all these functionalities. At the same time, these secondary actors, remember, secondary actors, they are always on the right. Yeah. They are linked to these functionalities. Yeah. Association. Now, within, we have extend and include relationship. We also want to take notes. Do we have an extend or an include relationship? Yeah. So how do we connect it? See how we connect and include, see how we connect and extend. Now, let's look at feedback. Yeah, we look at feedback. User gives feedback. Yeah, every time user gives feedback, what happens? Yeah, every time a user gives feedback, a user wants to give feedback, a user will have to fill up a form. It's an include relationship. For user to give feedback, the user must fill this form. Does it make sense? Yeah?
So it triggers something.
Yes. So that action needs to be completed for this to be complete. Yeah? So the same thing. User want to register as new user. Yeah? Every time the user wants to register, it triggers this form. So the user have to fill this form before they can register. Yeah. And also, you see another use case again, get library card. Once you register, yeah, you must get a library card. Yeah, they all include relationship. You see, this is the base use case. Why this one and this one is include use case. So let's look at this one as well. Or let's look at okay. Let's look at register new book. User is connected to register new book. So every time request new book. Every time user requests new book, yeah, you can see invalid renewal. Yeah, because, oh, come on. Because, do we understand why this one is happening? This is an extend relationship. Do we understand why? Can someone explain why? If a user requests new book, yeah, look at it. Look at my cursor. That's a new book. Invalid renewal.
Maybe the person is not registered or they could not complete the process.
No. If you request new book, it's a new book. You cannot renew something that is new. Let's say you need to buy a new item, yeah, on Amazon. You just go into the website, you buy the new item, yeah. You are not rebuying what you've bought before. But you know, if you bought that item, Amazon will register it, yeah, as an item that you bought before. So next time when you're now going, yeah, you can easily just go back to that item, yeah, and repurchase. That's what this simply means. Yeah. You are requesting a new book. You cannot invalid renewal. You cannot renew, you are not renewing it. So this action, invalid renewal, will not always happen. Let's say you've requested for the book before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this time you want that same book. You are renewing that request. Does it make sense now?
Yeah.
Because you now
Sorry,
have
talk
it.
more on that. Sorry.
You say?
Can you talk more on that? I didn't get it well.
Okay. If you go to the library, you borrow book. Let's say you want to use the book for a week. Yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
That is you making a new request. You borrow the book. You cannot renew the book because you are just borrowing it. Yeah? But let's say you've borrowed the book. Yeah, you've requested for the book before. The book is in your possession. At that point, you're only going to renew. If you try to request for renew book,
the system
will not allow you. That's what he's saying there. You can only request for the book new. You can't renew it at that level. Does it make sense?
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, like, I'm just trying to,
let's look at the other one at the top. Authentication. Yeah. Every time you try to authenticate, you know what authentication means?
Yes.
You're logging in. Let's say you want to log in. Yeah?
Yeah.
Into your library system. What will the system do normally? The system will verify your ID, will verify your ID. Yeah? So that means once the system verifies your ID, you log in successfully. But if you try to log in or authenticate and your login details is not correct, you definitely have an invalid username or password. As in, you won't log in successfully. It will create an error message, which is invalid username or password. You remember anytime you want to sign in sometimes and you forget your signing details, it shows you invalid username or password.
Sure.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. If you try to log in and there's something wrong with your login credentials, it will show you invalid. Something is invalid. Yeah. It might be your password that is invalid. It might be your username, but something is invalid. So, but if you notice, that doesn't happen all the time. It only happens one-off, so you just forget. That's why it's extend, because it doesn't always happen.
Okay.
Yeah? It doesn't always happen. If it happens all the time, then that will be an include relationship. Yeah? Does it make sense now?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at this other one, which is librarian, yeah, tries to add a book. You know, they are more like an administrator. Yeah. They try to add a book. Every time they try to add a book, this has to happen. The system will update the catalog that that book is there, is now there in the library. Yeah. So that whoever wants to borrow it can borrow it. You can see it's an include relationship. Yeah. Now let's say, yeah, there's provision. Again, this is different concept. There's provision for adding only 5 books. Yeah. There's provision for adding only 5 books. Again, that's a non-functional requirement. Yeah. So when we are building this, we are only focusing on functional requirements. Now, this example I'm giving is a non-functional requirement. So let's not focus too much on it. Yeah. So let's say they make provision for only 5 books. And those 5 books are already there. And the system catalog has already been updated for 5 books. So that means if the librarian tries to add another book to make it 6, the system will generate an error message. That will now make that error message will now be an extend relationship. Does it make sense?
Yes.
If you don't agree, tell me you don't agree. Or if you don't understand, say you don't understand. Do we get it?
Wait, sorry.
Let everybody speak now.
No, sorry. Could you please repeat what you said last?
Okay. Do you understand the concept of extend relationship?
Yes.
So I said in this our case here, if the librarian tried to add the book, it triggers this action. The system will update. Yeah. Now let's say there's a limitation of the number of books they can add. Let's say 5 or say 10. Yeah. If the librarian tried to add, they now already have 10. Yeah, and the catalog has been updated as 10. So if they now try to add another one, say 11, because they've already put a limit, yeah, a constraint, call it constraint, yeah, on the system. And again, that constraint is a non-functional requirement, yeah. Then the system will generate an error message. So we'll have we'll have another use case for error message. That use case will now be an include relationship because it doesn't always happen. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does now.
Okay. I usually don't like talking about this because this messes our head up. And usually we hardly use this. This is called an extension point. It's a more detailed version of an extend relationship. Yeah. So let's forget about this one. Yeah. Let's forget about this one. You can see this is a use case on its own. This is a base use case. This is another use case, which is an extend use case. This is another extend use case. This simply means every time I try to register, if I want to register, yeah, I will have to use the user guide or probably read the terms and conditions, meaning I will have to completely go off this page and read up something for me to come back here to carry on my my registration. Does it make sense? Remember, the original extend use case is is optional. Yeah. The extend use case is optional. So that means the base use case, yeah, if things does not go right, it will create an extend use case. That's why it's not optional. But in this case, extension point, yeah, is not only like the extend use case, extend relationship. Yeah, it's more detailed. So that means instead of, if you want to register, yeah, you have to seek for this guide, to view the guide first so that you can read the instruction. Yeah, or you read the view terms and conditions before you come back to complete. So we can ignore this one, yeah, because usually it's hard when you want to start bringing all this concept in. Yeah, just do the basic one. Does it make sense, guys?
Yeah.
So this is more like
Yeah, if you
this
can put us
captures
through
everything.
that, if you can put us through for the what you suggest that is kind of
Put it through to what or what?
the last word you showed before this one, the extended one, call it
No, it's very
extension.
confusing. If you
Okay.
try to focus on this, you will lose the rest of what you've learned. Trust me.
Okay.
If you understand what you've learned, yeah, those basic one, focus on those basic one. If you understand it, then you now come to this. If you've not understood those ones well, and you're coming here, everything will confuse you. That's why most times I don't like talking about this. This is advanced.
Okay.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry too much about this. And it's not always advisable to come to do this. Yeah.
But must we do this?
That's why I said no.
Okay. I'm
Just
talking
ignore
of
this.
use case in general. Like
Yeah.
now, if we get work.
Use case helps you. Yeah. Use case helps you. They can say, okay, fine. Because use case is, you are modeling. This is what we're talking about, system analysis. Yeah.
Okay.
This is what system analysis is.
Okay.
It's
At
not
what
like,
point will a business analyst create this use case? You know, like now there's a project and you know, there could be a lot of things that they want from the business analyst to do. Anyway, it could be because it's somehow difficult for me. You know, I'm seeing it.
now this is it. Nobody is going to tell you you're a business analyst. Yeah.
Okay.
And because you are communicating, you are helping to bridge the gap. You are helping to elicit, yeah, that's draw out information from your stakeholder.
Okay.
Yeah. And just to verify the information you've gathered from your stakeholder. The stakeholder tells you they want everything here. How do you know that what you are thinking is what the stakeholder is thinking?
Okay.
Yeah. It simply means you have to be creative. That's why we have all these tools to help us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, let me analyze this system. Yeah. The stakeholder says they want registration. They want login functionality. Yeah. They want book a course. They want payment. By the time you create this, yeah, and you book a session again with them just to verify, sometimes they might look at all these things that you've done and they will find out a point where, oh, they missed out something. Yeah. And they'll tell you, you should have included this or included that. you know, that they want the system to work like this. You see, you can engage them, you know?
See, yeah, because what you do now is like functionalities based on, take for instance, now we have a kind of a process we want to register, login and all that. In waterfall, whereby you have to maybe they will give you the whole thing they want. Is it possible for you to use test case to tell them everything they want for that project based on the elicitation?
Now, I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Use case, is designed, for waterfall environment. But again, nothing is cast on stone. Yeah?
Okay.
Now, when we talk about documentation, that's what we talk about waterfall environment. They do a lot of documentation.
Yeah.
So that's why you see a use case diagram is a high-level diagram. When you now come to an agile environment, it's different. So now you have your user story. Yeah? You have your user story now. You are breaking down those requirements into user story and acceptance criteria.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe initially when you don't understand how the system is going to look like or how it's going to work, and you want to analyze it, you can just design a use case. You can also use a use case in an agile environment as well. It all depends on the need, what you think. See, if this use case can help you to convey your message, then do it. Yeah.
So like in every sprint, because we do elicitate every sprint, we do elicitation. So for that particular, that requirements they will give us for that sprint, which is your 2-week sprint, we can now use this use case, use case now, right? We can now use this to draw all the things we are supposed to achieve for that sprint and now present to them.
Yeah, for example,
okay.
Let's say in this sprint, you are looking at payment.
Yes.
Yeah, let's say you guys are just focused on payment in this sprint.
Yeah, and we'll have payment tomorrow. Our discussion tomorrow is going to be on payment.
So you see,
good one.
So all you just need to do is to just focus on the payment side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now here you just have to payment type. They might decide they want 3 or 4. So that means you need to stretch it out. But all is going to be linked to normal payment. Yeah. And remember, insufficient. And also remember, now understand this. The primary actor initiates payments. The secondary actor, which is like a bank, will verify the payments. Yeah.
Okay.
So now, if you now move to the second level, which is the specialized now, yeah, you can see that there is no there's no arrow pointing at individual. Yeah, it's only pointing at it here at this level.
Where they're gonna make the payment. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's no point dragging arrow, to each. Except if you want to do that, it's also okay. But you want to make your work as clean as possible. Yeah. So you can see we have include here, we have include here. The both are verification of funds, which is tied here. But because the payment is captured here, so you want to leave the verification of funds here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So instead of this payment, instead of this to be connected here, you can connect it here instead.
Somewhere there.
Yeah.
And again, before you get to I'm just asking so that if I'm doing it, I'll be able to do it right. For me, before I'll get to the payment, I think I have to log in first. If Just
is another. You said you guys are looking at the functionality, payment.
yes, yes.
Focus on payment.
Yeah, what I'm trying
Forget
to say
about the
is
login.
that,
You've done
you know,
the login.
I've done the law. So there's no need of like showing the process that I need to like to log in
There is
before and then make the
no,
payment.
again, this
If
is
you understand
how
what
we
I mean.
confuse. I understand what you mean. You
Okay.
confuse yourself when you are going. This is not a process. Don't get
Okay.
it mixed up. This is
Mm.
just a diagram showing that you are making payment. You don't need to show
Okay.
registration.
Okay. Okay.
If
Yeah.
your focus is on payment, again, that's why it's agile.
Mm-hmm.
If your focus is on payment, yeah, if you're working on payment, what are you talking about registration again? Registration has been done.
Okay.
So this sprint, we're focusing on this. But because you want to exercise, you want to practice, you can decide to include them if you want. Yeah? Does it make sense?
Okay.
You can decide to
Yeah.
include everything that you have
Including.
done. But
Okay.
this is the challenge you might have. Yeah?
Yeah, Emmanuel, you know why I'm saying that? You know, some
I know what you are saying.
okay.
For
You know, some
each sprint.
stakeholders could okay.
Now, stakeholder will not be asking you about login when you've done login. Stakeholder,
You know,
if
some people will
you're
be like, you know, how did you get to payment? Can you show us the process? You know, that process I think is the wrong word to use because it's not what's in the process map. So, but some people will be like, what's the connection? How will you just come and start talking about payment? Especially those that maybe joined, because sometimes all the stakeholders will not be around at the beginning. And this one could be now talking to the maybe the account section or something, depending on what the project is all about. So some people might like ask, okay, how do you get to this payment? Or are you just like talking about payment? So how did you get here?
okay, let me help you.
Okay, thank you.
Now, you see why this is high level?
Yeah.
Yeah? This doesn't have details.
Okay.
This is just a diagram showcasing what the system, yeah, what service the system will render and how the actors are interacting with this service.
Okay.
That's what the use case is. So it's something that you capture at the beginning, even before you start talking about setting up the projecting.
The project. Okay.
Yeah. Now, looking at waterfall style. Now, here in Agile, every sprint, did they tell you anything? Did you guys discuss anything about definition of done or definition of ready?
Yeah, general team, we discussed that. I saw it on the week. I think on the wiki or somewhere.
Okay. So if you know what definition of ready is, yeah, it simply means everything. Let's say if you are working on login functionality, yeah,
Yeah.
and you are not working on, say, registration functionality, yeah, because it's iterative development,
Yeah.
yeah. If you are working on login, yeah, and you're not working on registration,
Registration. Yeah.
your focus is on login. Another team might completely be doing the registration, so it's not for you to carry the load of another team or load
Yeah.
of probably maybe the registration will come up in the future.
Okay.
So your focus, hold on.
I
When
got
they
what you're
say,
saying.
when they say, when you are doing your sprint planning, yeah,
Yes,
you are focusing on the items that are going in the sprint.
in the sprint.
So you are not focusing on items that are not going in the sprint. Again,
Yeah, but
this is where you are confused. Let me show you. Now, look at my screen very well.
I just
Yeah?
want to tell you something that they told us. That's for you to continue. In
Okay, go
the
on.
wireframe we're doing, okay, they told us that before, based on the feedback I heard, before you will, let's assume you're working on registration or something, working on the login. So you need to put a page that will link up. We usually put like three
Okay.
wireframes, a
Okay,
kind
hold
of,
on,
showing them the process of before you
hold
get
on.
there.
Let me
Thank you.
tell you. This is a use case. This is not a wireframe. Wireframe, you are adding to what you have.
Okay.
Do you understand now?
Yes.
Let's say you built a page, yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
and you want to add more stuff to the page, yeah.
Okay.
So because you are navigating to another, let's say, okay, you're building a wireframe, yeah.
Yeah.
You have first page is login. When you click login, it takes you to another page. That's
Yeah.
registration form now. It takes you to a form. Let's say you have to fill the login form.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's different. So you see from page 1, you have to move to page 2. That
So
is
page
completely
2.
different from use
Okay.
case.
Okay.
That's why, yeah, look
Yeah.
at it independently.
Yeah, that's what I'm
This
just saying
tells
now.
you, yeah, this tells you about functionalities of the system. Yeah,
Okay.
at high level. No details.
No details. Okay.
The
Yeah.
details are just
Okay.
very scanty. It's not really, it's just giving you an idea. Okay, the system will have registration, the system will have login, the system will have book this, have payment. So, but in your case, like I said, because you are learning, yeah, you can decide to put registration, login, payment as you go along.
Okay.
Yeah, just be adding it as you go along, but you don't have to do that.
Okay.